I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Welcome to Camnet TV Main News. The headlines. Fuel prices increase as inflation rate drops. DP functions in a near punch-up at a police station. Infamous MAPOLOTO compound in KABWATA constituency to see FACELIFT. In international news, protest over economic wars under second day in Ghana. And in sports, CHIPOLOPOLO begin training ahead of COSAFA. Details coming through after this commercial.
On Monday, 4th July 2022 on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba as he hosts the FTD President, Madam Edith Nawakwe.
So, someone must stand up for justice. Someone must stand up for justice. And if Edith Nawakwe is seeing that she's standing up for a poor family, so be it.
I'm your pastor and of course host.
As they discuss empowering Zambian nationals.
Invite others to participate through phoning, on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp and text messages.
On DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 98 and Topstar channel 106.
Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
And other main news in detail. The Lusaka City Council have commenced the process of grading gravel roads in Lusaka's Chilenje Ward 8 ahead of the Constituency Development Fund utilization, which will see them being tarred. In separate interviews with Camnet News, some of the residents have welcomed this move, while others have expressed impatience, stating that they would like to see them being tarred immediately using the long-awaited Constituency Development Fund (CDF). Meanwhile, Area Councillor Mr. Ruben Mwenya notes that the grading of the roads is an indication of the new administration's plan for overall development, including that of communities.
The need to establish a good road network cannot be left out when talking about Zambia's quest to transform into a prosperous middle-income country by 2030, as good roads play important social and economic roles. The link between a good road network and overall development cannot be overemphasized, as this connects schools, markets, hospitals, and other key sectors. In readiness for the utilization of Constituency Development Fund (CDF), which is expected to bring grassroots development to communities once utilized, the Lusaka City Council has commenced the putting up of gravel roads in Lusaka's Chilenje Ward 8. The measure has been done as a preparation for the tarring of roads in the ward using CDF. In interviews with Camnet News, some of the residents have welcomed the move, given the dilapidated roads in most parts of the area.
From my own point of view, I think this grading which is being done, I think is the best being done to our communities. I think these side roads, most of the time we find that when it rains, the potholes become more bigger. So when works like this are being done, I think we can applaud the government.
Others, however, have called for the long-awaited CDF utilization to begin, stating that gravel roads are not enough.
Okay, I just appreciate that about great daily roads. But sometimes often samaning there's a particular tarmac. Because we had waited for a long time for this road to be graded. But anyway, hence we are grading it. It's okay. We really appreciate. That's the only concern is just the tarmac. All we needed was the tarmac.
Meanwhile, Chilenje Ward 8 Councillor Mr. Ruben Mwenya has added his voice.
We're just trying to grade most of the roads because they've become so bumpy. After this stage, of course, through CDF, we are going to pave these roads the way I think it was done in Chawama, because tars or tarring them is going to be a little bit expensive, but when we pave them, they're going to be a bit cheaper, and also will cover a lot of roads, and also even the lifespan of it is a bit good.
While roads are being constructed, stakeholders have been calling for the utilization of high-grade material, as most roads in Zambia do not live up to the expected lifespan. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The United Party for National Development KABWATA constituency member of Parliament, Andrew Tayengwa, has disclosed that the constituency leadership and the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, have made progress towards relocating the people of MAPOLOTO area and pave way for development. Prior to the KABWATA by-election, the PF had accused UPND of trying to relocate the people and in order to put up a shopping mall, a development that was refuted by the UPND. Thursday, Mr. Tayengwa tells Camnet News that the relocating process is being done in partnership with the area committee to ensure that the area is developed to habitat standards.
Well, prior to the by-election in KABWATA constituency, among issues that were prominent was involving MAPOLOTO, a locality that needs development in various aspects such as proper housing, recreation and roads. And political assurances were made.
Activity development kuno. Marodi ya MAPOLOTO yafu nikopangiwa. Manyumba aya ba president plan yabo is to make sure that these houses are developed to a standard where it is humanly normal. Okay? So gulibe abwera kupanya manyumba ya MAPOLOTO. Tibwera kuyachita develop. And
the Committee of Landlords in MAPOLOTO area this year informed Camnet News of the existing program of relocating some people to Kanakanta Parisettlement Scheme and Mumbwa in order to facilitate title deeds and development.
Nadabwisa zone na kuti a president ikainda karibu fikapo pano. Muna vanhu wonapo pano va MAPOLOTO tikaribe. So is the blue line. It's not there. Ndaba vote nilina volopano nilina list ya MAPOLOTO vose mazina yao landlords na wamene vazatenga MAPOLOTO.
KABWATA constituency is among the highly developed constituencies in Zambia. However, there is what they call a city within a city called MAPOLOTO. This area remains behind when it comes to development. I spoke to area member of parliament Andrew Tayengwa on what they are doing to ensure that they put in place measures they assure the people of this area prior to the by-election.
Already done the assessment and identified the people that needs to be relocated. So it's something that will come to pass, and the people of MAPOLOTO definitely, I think, will be able to smile when it comes to giving them a place where they should actually go and stay. So we are working hand in hand with the Office of the Vice President under the Disaster Management Unity, DMMU. I think the last time we had the meeting with them, and I sent my councillors on the ground, it was last week. So I think we should be coming up with the resolutions maybe in the next coming 2 weeks or so. But definitely before the onset of the rains, we'll be able to see that the people from the MAPOLOTO, they have either been allocated so that people can start working on.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News, in Lusaka.
In other news, Governance Elections Advocacy Research Services GEARS Initiative Executive Director Magnono Jipenzi has called for a policy shift before the 2026 general election, which will see the printing of ballot papers being done locally. In an interview, Mr. Jipenzi says it marks sad readings to note that the country has continued to spend huge sums of money in transporting staff from the Electoral Commission of Zambia to Dubai, even forward by-elections such as these currently taking place in Mkushi and Mungu districts. He explains that if government printers cannot be capacitated before the next general election, ECZ should be able to come up with a department which will print all ballot papers within the country to cut on costs.
As a multi-party democracy for over 3 decades now, since 1991, Zambia is expected to have a well-set-up local system to print ballot papers, given that general elections are held after every 5 years. This, however, is not the case, as local printing of ballot papers has been erratic, leaving the country to depend on the international community to carry out the exercise. Stakeholders have for a long time been calling for servicing of equipment at government printers to enable it to become a contender for the printing of election ballot papers, as the machinery is said to be dilapidated. In an interview, Governance Elections Advocacy Research Services Gears Initiative Executive Director Mr. McDonough Chipenzi says the current case of Zambia, depending on international ballot printing, is laughable, as even ballot papers for the ongoing ward by-elections in Mongo and Mukushi district was done in Dubai, despite the number of eligible voters being less than 5,000.
That any by-election that falls due now up to 2026, ballot papers must be printed in Zambia. No more spending money to Dubai. No. That is where we make by-election unnecessarily expensive. And yet it's just like a play. Just the way you go to ShopRite to buy or to Zambif to buy your T-bone. That's how by-election should be. But we are making them very expensive, so that now we say no, by-elections are not good in an electoral democracy. No. So let's print ballot papers locally. In the meantime, before we establish our own printing press for the commission, we can use the government printer. We can use, one time I went to check what is there at the Zambia Education Publishing House. They have the art of machine, the state-of-the-art machines at the Public Education Publishing House, Zambia Education Publishing House. But it's underutilized. So why can't we use those things?
Mr. Chipenzi has also applauded all participating political parties in the 2 ward by-elections, stating that there have been no reports of political violence.
This is a plus to the new government. Even the issue of vote buy, those days would hear DMMU, this politician donating to this church, to this marketeer, and so you have not heard about those things now. That is the rule of law we are talking about. The Electoral Act is law in this country and must be respected. It doesn't allow you to donate during election in order to colonize the minds of the voters. No, it doesn't. And if the government can allow people to freely choose the political party of their choice, the candidate of their choice, then we are building a strong foundation for electoral democracy that is full of credibility and integrity.
Polls for the 2 ward by-elections in Lumba ward of Mongo district and in Shiso ward of Mukushi district, which was slated for 30th June of 2022, have officially closed, and citizens await the results. The 2 ward by-elections were necessitated by the death of United Party for National Development UPND councillor in Mongo district and the resignation of Patriotic Front councillor in Mukushi district in April of 2022. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Patriotic Front Information and Publicity Chairperson Raphael Nakachinda has charged that the opposition in the country has continued to suffer at the hands of the Speaker of the National Assembly, whom he has accused of being biased towards the ruling party. Mr. Nakachinda, who appeared this morning before the Parliamentary Committee on Privileges for remarks issued in the media alleging that the Speaker of the National Assembly is biased in conducting the business of the House, says it's unfortunate that Parliament is summoning private citizens to be appearing before parliamentary committees for opinions expressed outside Parliament. Mr. Nakachinda, who addressed the media within Parliament premises shortly after appearing before the Parliamentary Committee, says presiding officers at Parliament are not above reproach and that the citizens are bestowed with rights and freedom of expression.
We have continued to suffer at the hand of Parliament and Madam Speaker, summoning us as private citizens to be appearing before parliamentary committees for opinions we express out there. We have advised several times that, first of all, Parliament, presiding officers at Parliament are not above reproach. And the citizens of the Republic of Zambia, including myself, we are bestowed with the right and freedom of expression.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
They don't allow interviews here.
Since when? I have been a member of Parliament here expressing themselves in the precincts of Parliament.
No. It's done already.
It's done in terms of what?
Only the MPs are allowed to.
This is the kind of attitude that has come for the first time during this parliament. Where are your cameras?
Good.
Take a video of him.
Why?
This attitude of beginning to make the People's Assembly become sacred.
Sacred of what?
That we cannot even speak on our own assembly, in the premises of our own assembly. I have as much right to this assembly as anybody else. I cast a vote to have representation here, just like the millions of Zambians. So this business of saying that there is no, I don't have the right to express myself is not correct.
There was a near punch-up between the Democratic Party factions as the two groups clashed at the Lusaka's Woodlands police station, where they were reporting each other on account of perpetrating tribal remarks. The group led by Judith Kabemba claims that prior to the August 12th general election, then-party presidential candidate Harry Kalaba declined to join the United Party for National Development Alliance, saying that there was no way he was going to allow Etonga to be president. Justin Konge says they reported Mr. Kalaba for peddling tribal remarks against President Hakainde Hichilema and the Tonga-speaking people. But Mr. Kalaba also earlier reported the same incident against those accusing him of peddling tribal remarks and dared the police to arrest him if he uttered any tribal sentiments.
Everyone else thought matters pertaining to the Democratic Party, DP, were being settled in court. Well, they were at it again at the Woodlands police station.
Harry Kalaba is a masquerader. That chap has never been president and you will never be president of DP. He can't appoint nobody. The chap I was speaking him. He can't appoint me.
Thursday, 30th June 2022, Democratic Party leader Harry Kalaba reported the Judith Kabemba faction for implicating him in issuing tribal remarks against the Tonga-speaking people and President Hakainde Hichilema in the build-up to the August 12th general election. Shortly after filing his report, this is what Mr. Kalaba said.
I came to tell the police that you don't just allege. He who alleges must prove. So if I spoke like that, I came to challenge the police to arrest me, because hate speech in this country is an offense. So if they don't arrest me, then it means the one who was speaking yesterday was the one who was propagating and insinuating hate speech and must be also arrested. Because one of us should be arrested somehow. There's one who was promoting hate speech. And definitely it is not myself. These are matters of national importance. I'm running for office of president. And I am running to promote the office of president and the constitution of Zambia. And because of that, I think it's only imperative that I walk the talk.
While the Harry Kalaba camp was still talking to the media, the Judith Kabemba group arrived at the Woodlands police station. It is at this point they exchanged bitter words and a near punch-up.
So what do you want to do? So do what you want. Who are you? Hey, keep quiet. You are not my class. Keep quiet. Keep quiet. So that guy is a coward. So we are not interacting. We are here.
Are you getting about the coward? What about stupid? You know.
Harry Kalaba has never been you. I'm telling you. Don't touch me. I'm telling you. Don't touch me. I'm telling you. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Judith Kabemba and Justin Konge also reported Mr. Kalaba for allegedly peddling tribal talk and masquerading as the Democratic Party president.
We are here and we have reported Mr. Kalaba. Firstly, Mr. Kalaba uttered words against President Hakainde Hichilema and against the Tonga people. Mr. Kalaba said there was no way Zambia would be ruled by a Tonga, because Tongas are selfish people, they are greedy people, and they are people that only care for themselves.
We announced that we are going to report Harry Kalaba tomorrow morning at Woodlands Police for hate speech and sabotaging government. So before we realized, he heard from the radio and wanted to pull a fast one. So when you saw us come, we were just coming on our own to come and do our own reporting here at Woodlands, because we even mentioned only to hear that Harry Kalaba is here making a report and wanting to pull a fast one. Typical of him, even when he was about to be fired, He put the first one and lied to the people of Zambia that have just resigned. After hearing that every member in the meeting wanted us to go in an alliance with the UPND, Harry said there is no way I'll be able to be escorting HH to State House. A lot of people have come and they have beaten him. I also have to beat him. If we have to be in an alliance, ask HH to come and be my running mate. That was his position.
Beat me.
Yes.
So people are calling that there is a matter here. When you're doing an interview, the journalists are calling us.
Well, what does the future hold for the DP? For now, only time will tell. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
The Zambia Statistics Agency, ZAMSTAS, has announced a 0.32% reduction in the annual inflation rate from 10.2% in May to 9.7% in June of 2022. Speaking during a media briefing on the monthly updates of inflation in Zambia, ZAMSTAS Interim Statistician General, Mr. Mlenga Msepa, explains that the slowdown in the annual inflation was mainly attributed to price movements in both food and non-food items. He explains that annual food inflation for June 2022 was recorded at 11.9% compared to 12.3% in May 2022, while the annual non-food inflation rate for June was recorded at 6.9% from 7.5% in May of 2022. This outturn has been attributed to price movements in food items like cereals, meat, chicken and vegetables, as well as non-food items like clothes, purchase of vehicles and charcoal. Mr. Msenga further explains that the annual national average price of certain items like meal shows a decrease, with the price of a 25-kilogram bag of breakfast meal decreasing by 0.17%, roller meal by 0.83%. The Energy Regulation Board, ERB, has announced the upward adjustment in fuel pump prices for the month of July effective midnight. ERB Board Chairperson Reynold Boa disclosed that petrol will now trade at 26 kwacha 0.75 ngwe, diesel at 25 kwacha 0.75 ngwe, and kerosene at 21 kwacha 0.27 ngwe. Previously, petrol was trading at 24 kwacha 0.95 ngwe, diesel at 25 kwacha 0.64 ngwe, and kerosene at 18 kwacha 0.76 ngwe. Mr. Boa has attributed the increase to the unprecedented increase in the price of petroleum products on the international market. He says, among other factors, how continued geopolitical tension in Ukraine and Russia has caused premium demands, resulting into pressure on the landed cost of imported petroleum products.
The Energy Regulation Board has adjusted upwards the pump prices of petroleum products by 1 kwacha 18 ngwe per litre for petrol, 2 kwacha 37 ngwe per litre for diesel, and 2 kwacha 51 ngwe per litre for kerosene. The adjustment in the pump prices is due to the unprecedented increase in the price of petroleum products on the international market. The recorded increase in international oil prices was mainly attributed to the global oil demand and supply imbalance caused by a combination of factors such as the continued geopolitical tensions in Ukraine and Russia and increased oil demand worldwide, which has caused pressure on the landed cost of imported products. The demand has put pressure on the landed cost of imported products. Consequently, the prices of petroleum products on the local market have all surpassed the threshold for upward price adjustment.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with more after this.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
On Monday, 4th July 2022 on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba as he hosts the FTD President, Madam Edith Nawakwe.
So, someone must stand up for justice. Someone must stand up for justice. And if Edith Nawakwe is seeing that she's standing up for a poor family, so be it.
I'm your pastor and of course host.
As they discuss empowering Zambian nationals.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp and text messages.
On DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 98 and Topstar channel 106.
Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the rest of the main news. An economist, Kelvin Chisanga, has hailed the influx of mobile money services in the country, saying they were a convenient alternative to banking services. Speaking to Camnet TV, Mr. Chisanga says the introduction of mobile money services has enabled many youths in the country to get employment, adding that it has set a growth pattern in the banking sector. Mr. Chisanga says despite banking facing a stiffer competition from mobile money services, they should consider embracing it as it offers a different innovation aimed at bettering the banking services. Meanwhile, some mobile money agents in Lusaka have commended their trade, saying it has created job opportunities that has a turn in sustaining their livelihood.
The banking sector is a crucial component in any modern economy, as it is a key driver to economic and social development, paramount in unlocking wealth, creating jobs for the locals, and fostering commerce. The sector, being a primary supplier of credit, enables mechanisms for individuals and businesses to participate in the global economy at the same time meet their daily needs. The country has, however, in the recent past, witnessed a shift in the use of these services by the general populace in preference to mobile money services, especially among the youths. When speaking to Camnet TV Thursday, a social development economist, Kelvin Chisanga, says the banking service should not feel threatened by the availability of mobile services, adding that they have come to complement the banking sector.
Just basically coming to complement, though the issue is that the bank should actually endeavor to go into banking diversity in terms of services or in terms of solutions. So the mushrooming of most of these, both, it basically just entails to say that there is a growth in terms of ITC, in terms of also mobile transactions as well. So it's an issue that has actually given a positive outlook as well, and even the sentimental value that is actually also coming from there. It's actually giving a growth pattern that we're able to project as well. Because
He further says the mushrooming of these mobile money booths has created employment for the young people in the country.
Business also is giving employment to the young people. You know, if you look at, for example, Zanaco has got about 15,000, point of sale machines, which actually translate to about 25,000 employees that are actually being employed indirectly within Zanaco's system. So it gives a very good, model for postality, and also it's also giving a good projection for employment as well.
Meanwhile, some mobile money agents in Lusaka have held the use of mobile money services, adding that it has created jobs for them, hence keeping them from bad vices.
We've attracted a lot of customers. That's one of the advantages. And one of the disadvantages is that a lot of people have them now. And it's kind of like brings competition, but then you just have to know how to talk to your customers, because what will attract customers is the services that you offer. And it's good to work in such places because you get to work for your own money than stealing or waiting for the government to offer you jobs. So if you have nothing to do, try to find something. Don't look at yourself and say, no, I'm a slave queen, I'm a what, but it's just to work hard, because I believe that has helped me. I no longer ask money from my parents, but I'm able to buy my own things that I want.
Better than kunkala kunyumba ndebija wasanduka cheka wala ambobela abantu. It's better unkala ko busy finding something to do.
Message and reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
Disability Rights Watch Program Coordinator Bruce Choma has called for stiffer laws that will see perpetrators of various offences towards persons with disability punished. In an interview, Mr. Choma notes that the year 2022 has seen an increase in reports of such crimes, including sodomy of children with disability, a situation which he says calls for stiffer laws to warn would-be offenders. While the crime of defilement in Zambia currently carries a minimum sentence of 15 years, Mr. Choma indicates that the defilement of a person with disability only carries a maximum of 14 years, detaching seriousness from the crime. Camnet News recently carried out 2 stories of a 14-year-old deaf and dumb girl of Lusaka's John Howard compound who was gang-raped by 5 men, as well as sodomy of a 10-year-old autistic boy in Lusaka's Chunga compound.
So as Disability Rights Watch, we are concerned by the increase in sexual violence and abuse of especially girls with disabilities in Zambian communities. We think that the process of reviewing the penal code that's going on in the Zambian Criminal Commission must have measures to strengthen the penalties and punishment that people who take advantage of persons with disabilities are going to be receiving. So issues of defilement of girls with disabilities, girls with albinism, as well as women with disabilities who are also facing sexual assault as well as rape must begin to be criminalized at a very high level so that we can deter would-be offenders from doing that. But in addition to that, we need to have more awareness raising on the implications of such actions on the communities.
Youth Life Project Executive Director Michael Nkosi says climate change, if left unchecked, will greatly affect the well-being of Zambia and in turn the global population in health and economically. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Nkosi notes that the COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated climate change impact, resulting in significant hurdles in the quest to attain sustainable development goals as a country and those at household level. Our Ministry of Community Development Senior Community Development Officer Annie Nalungwe adds that young people have a vital role to play in the fight of climate change.
Climate change threatens people with food and water scarcity, increasing flooding, extreme heat, more disease, and economic loss. It can also result in human migration and conflict. The World Health Organization calls climate change the greatest threat to global health in the 21st century, with mean global temperature increasing by positive 1.3 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial baseline. It is estimated that further 100 million people will collapse into poverty by 2030. Michael Nkosi is Youth Life Project Manager.
Into best practices to save our earth, and we realize that actually the future belongs to the youth, just like we say as Youth Life Project. But now the major players in this case actually should be the youth, and what we are doing right now is to actually bring the stakeholders together so that one, we can know how to finance the climate justice issues, and we can also know how to respond to humanitarian crisis, because climate justice actually is a matter of social justice as well.
He adds that with aggressive effects, climate change is taking a toll on the country in many evident ways through increasing incidences of droughts, floods, increasing temperature, heat waves, wildfires.
Because the poor gets poorer when a crisis that is climatic in nature hits. So pretty much we want to involve everyone, and the youth are key stakeholders in this case, because we believe they want to create the future, or rather we want to create the future that we desire, and without it to start with us. And the youth of course have the energy to carry the message along to the community. And of course, we believe climate justice or climatic issues shouldn't be a very complicated science.
Meanwhile, Senior Community Development Officer Anina Longwe states that young people have a vital role to play in the fight against climate change.
The challenge that we are having is that most of our youths are just there in the community. Even if there is this call to apply for CDF, some of them are not interested, some of them they think the process is too much. So I think there is need for us to conduct sensitization meetings and just help them to push through the processes, because where we feel, because some of these fruits that we think are low hanging, anyone can access them. Others, even if the fruits are low, they can't access. So as media and ourselves, I think we really need to collaborate and other partners to go out there in the communities, sensitize these youths that these monies are theirs.
Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Chililabombo Municipal Council health inspectors and council police Wednesday conducted a routine food safety inspection at the Kasumbalesa border market to ascertain complaints from members of the public over the sale of improperly labeled and expired foodstuffs in the district. In a statement issued to Camnet TV by Chilabombe Council Assistant Public Relations Manager Nambela Kyombela, the inspectorate team, after inspections, confiscated food items, among them 108 cases of cola which were improperly labeled, 41 trays of eggs, 12 cases of fruticana, 2 cases of shake and sip. According to the Competition and Consumer Act No. 24 of 2010 and the Public Health Act No. 295 of the laws of Zambia, the local authority has a mandate to prevent diseases and generally to regulate all matters connected with public health in Zambia. The Council is therefore urging members of the public to comply with the stipulated laws and regulations of food safety so that they do not sell food that is unfit for consumption, as this is punishable by law. Further, the local authority is encouraging members of the public to continue reporting business premises who are in the habit of selling unwholesome foods. International and sports news coming through right after this commercial.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry. There's so much data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner. On Monday, 4th July 2022 on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba as he hosts the FTD President, Madam Edith Nawakwi.
So, someone must stand up for justice. Someone must stand up for justice. And if Edith Nawakwi is seen that she's standing up for a poor family, so be it.
I'm your pastor and of course host.
As they discuss empowering Zambian nationals.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp and text messages.
On DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 98 and Topstar channel 106.
Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Getting into international news, demonstrators in Ghana's capital have gathered for a second day of protest against parallel inflation and other economic woes after the first day ended in clashes with police and 29 arrests. Wednesday's protests kicked off about noon GMT amid a heavy police presence. Hundreds had taken to the streets on Tuesday to denounce price hikes, a tax on electronic payments and other levies amid an economic downturn. Police dispersed the authorized march with tear gas and water cannon after demonstrators turned violent and wounded a dozen officers, according to a statement. They arrested 29 demonstrators for attacks and damage of public property and were reviewing footage of the event to identify more participants. Here's a roundup of international news.
Back for a second day of protest despite an earlier crackdown. A meeting with the country's deputy finance minister and then a march to the parliament, while the demonstrators demanded the government reverse what they called punitive economic policies.
Today, the ordinary Ghanaian is struggling to afford 3 square meals a day, not even 2 square meals a day, because we are suffering. From 14 Ghana cedis in 2016, the price of a gallon of diesel and petrol has galloped to a whopping 61 Ghana cedis. Today, the price of a bag of cement has galloped from 28 Ghana cedis to 62 Ghana cedis.
The rising cost of living is one reason demonstrators are on the streets, but organizers say they're also concerned about political corruption, increases in taxes, as well as alleged cases of human rights abuses by security forces. They say all these are combining to make life difficult for most people here in Ghana.
Members of parliament say they are aware of the country's growing economic and social problems.
We will do what is needful. The petition itself will thoroughly be debated on the floor of parliament and positions taken. But my first advice would be for the president to halt momentarily all petroleum-related taxes to save the lives and improve the quality of living of Ghanaians.
On Tuesday, the protest turned ugly as demonstrators clashed with police, who say at least a dozen officers were hurt and vehicles damaged. The demonstrators said police fired rubber-coated steel bullets at them and arrested dozens. Less than 2 years into his second term, Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo is coming under increasing pressure. The economy is faltering, unemployment is rising, and inflation has reached its highest level in decades. Analysts here say the government and parliament must quickly act to calm an already agitated population. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, Accra, Ghana.
Dozens of vibrantly colored floating homes have for decades dotted the banks of the River Nile, rare havens of leafy seclusion in the Egyptian capital's hustle and bustle, but maybe not for much longer. The alarm was sounded in 2020 when the governor of Cairo announced that he was suspending the permits to park barges. Residents of the 30 or so houseboats on the banks of the Nile last week received eviction orders. How can historic houses, dwellings of people living in the heart of the city be removed in this aggressive and sudden way? While they don't cause any disturbance, on the contrary, they are eco-friendly, just to be transformed into cafes. The government has given assurances that the promenade with marina, open-air theatre cafes and restaurants will guarantee public access to the Nile. Since the 1950s, these boats have been the backdrop for the serenade of iconic Egyptian movies.
So this house we have here is really old. It's the old model of houseboats, like they used to be in the movies of Naguib Mahfouz or the other famous movies of the golden age of Egyptian cinema. It's definitely, there was a lot spent on this house to make it what it is now. It's not only money, it's also the time, the human lives, the effort that really matters.
Some have put their life savings in it. Others have a pleasant summer residence there. Activists in Egypt continue to denounce a lack of consultation with the inhabitants as during previous demolitions in Bulak and Maspero near the city center in Cairo.
I'm here in the village of Zenge, about 50 kilometers from Zenge shore. The reason you see me wearing this visor and this protective clothing is for safety reasons, as the track I'm on is suspected of containing mines. On the 2nd of June, the teams of Handicap International have been combing this area to allow the population to have access to this track, which links two villages. The majority of the population have abandoned their land due to the crisis that have long affected this area of southern Senegal. These security lines indicate that we are in a forbidden zone, as there are dozens of them in Casamance. And this team of mine clearing expert is searching the ground inch by inch for explosive devices, a dangerous operation. It is not easy to move forward in an area where the soil is compact and there is dense vegetation all around. The machine proceeds by preparing the ground. The mine clearers then go behind it. The work is done at a steady pace, but in complete safety, so that the population can reuse their land later when we're no longer there. Here, in fact, every centimeter excavated is a victory for the team, a ray of hope for the inhabitants of the village. Since the death of one of them, the people of Zenge have been living in constant fear. The presence of the bomb disposal expert reassures us a little more, because since our return from exile, we've been haunted by the presence of the mines we found there. The army came and was able to defuse some of them, but since there was an incident, the fear is still there. No one can move around as they want, even to go to the fields. The National Mine Action Center is facing major financial difficulties. This is slowing down the mining operations in the region.
We'll now get into our sports item. The senior football national team head coach Aljosa Asanovic says the boys have regrouped to train ahead of the COSAFA tournament scheduled for July. Speaking to Camnet Sports, Asanovic notes that the CHIPOLOPOLO have so far shown the spirit of determination and is confident that they will win the cup. Asanovic adds that the domination of young players in the squad is to motivate young football talent in the country. The tournament will run from the 5th to the 17th of July 2022 in South Africa.
The COSAFA-bound CHIPOLOPOLO squad has Thursday, 30th June 2022, regrouped in Lusaka to start preparations for the regional showpiece. The CHIPOLOPOLO head coach Aljosa Asanovic last week named a youthful squad for the tournament. Some youngsters in the squad include NAPSA stars Jimmy Mukera, Patrick Gondwe, and Zesco United lanky forward Enoch Sakala Jr. Speaking to Camnet Sports, Asanovic notes that the introduction of young players will give an opportunity to see new talent.
When I started the camp, I'm so happy about that. The guys is also happy to come here and enjoy to prepare for the COSAFA, and we are just waiting, the start to competitions. Plus motivation is just try to be better every game, every competitions, and also I tell so many times I believe my players, I believe the local guys, because the local guys, he work hard, he want to be on the high level, and I'm so happy what I see the first training.
Asanovic expects the best from the CHIPOLOPOLO.
No, you know that we want to do see the young guys. It is the future for the Zambians teams, the future for the Zambian clubs. We want to see the talent of the guys, and if we have the time, we are always the call him. We are waiting because we don't know yet exactly the opponents, but we must be ready for any opponent in COSAFA, and we are going there to play very well, and of course to make the good result.
The COSAFA Championship will also act as preparatory ground for the July 24th African Nations Championship tie against Mozambique in Maputo, and September round of Ivory Coast, 2023 Africa Cup of Nations back-to-back clashes with Lesotho. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet Sports, Lusaka.
Well, that sports item brings us to the end of Camnet TV main news, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. Fuel prices increase as inflation rates drop. DP factions in a near punch-up at a police station. Infamous MAPOLOTO compelled in KABWATA constituency to see FACELIFT. In international news, protests over economic woes enter second day in Ghana. And in sports, CHIPOLOPOLO begin training ahead of COSAFA. Our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Proverbs 3 verse 5 to 6, and it reads, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths." Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Pleasant viewing.